Oppenheimer is a total blast. Wait, no pun intended.
When an atomic bomb explodes,
Oh, well, hello there. Welcome back to the Forgotten Circus. All right, what's up, everybody? It's Forgotten Circus, so I'm going to do my Oppenheimer kind of spoiler review. It's going to be all over the place. The movie is long. The movie is really long. And there's some parts when it drags, but it is literally a Nolan masterpiece. Like, there's so many people in this movie, like even stars that you know. Big time A-listers are in this movie, and you kind of forget about them sometimes because like it seems like everybody had their little section of the movie. Some return later on in the movie, but they had 3 hours to do. And geez, Christopher Nolan definitely. There's some people in this movie that it's almost like, are we doing a cameo here? You know, it's like an extra long cameo, but yeah, let's get into it. So basically, I'm gonna go over. So this is gonna be all over the place because the movie's so long and there's so many people in it. I have to bring up the cast list to stay on track. I mean, you have like probably 40 people acting in this movie, like big time movie stars acting in this movie. It seems like everybody called Christopher Nolan up. Hey, you doing Oppenheimer? Can I get in it? Like, well, yeah, I can give you about a 30 sec or 30 to 60 second showing, you know. But all right. So how do you say Cillian Murphy, amazing actor. All I can say is 28 days later. But anyway, that put him on the map. He's great as Oppenheimer. And let me tell you, Oppenheimer, to be honest with you, is not a good dude. He has a lot of faults. And he's kind of a narcissist, and he's a womanizer. And there's parts in this movie when you're going to like look at him like, oh my gosh, you are a terrible person. But then that's how Christopher Nolan does it. He spins it, and then you start to be like, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. He's up and down, to be honest with you. Matt Damon. He's just good, man. Matt Damon is good. He's good as the general. So he starts as a colonel, and then by the time he makes the negotiations with Oppenheimer to actually do the start the testing for the atomic bomb, by like midway in the movie, he's already 2-star. So it's crazy. Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss. People forget how good of an actor that Robert Downey Jr. is. He lost some time due to jail, and then you seen him in the Avengers, Iron Man, everybody like. So he's always everybody's Tony Stark. But this guy's performance, to be honest with you, he may be up for an Academy Award because he was phenomenal in this. And you don't even see Robert Downey Jr. when he's playing Louis Strauss. You see Louis Strauss. So good. What am I going? I'm going on actors and stuff, but yeah. So the build up, it's more or less a spy espionage. You know, they're creating something that changed the world as we know it today. So it's good that I'll take us back to Star Wars a little bit. It had Andor vibe on steroids. So many spies. And we just think this guy just created this thing. Oh yeah, just created it somewhere in what is it, Los Alamos, New Mexico, or whatever. I just just made it. No, there's more to it. There was so much stuff going behind the scenes. And let me get back to Oppenheimer. In the movie, he tries to actually poison his teacher. He's insane. And there is a part in this movie where the sex scene seemed kind of forced. We didn't need all that. We know he's a womanizer, and yeah, why do we? And I'm all for it. Like it was Florence Pugh. And by the way, even though the short time she was in there, there is something about Florence Pugh. She just got it. She's one of those female actresses that just has it. They can play any role. And she's good, and like everybody's good, but there's certain it started to become cameos a little bit in the movie. Like, oh, we got to force this person to get some lines in here because they're A-lister. We got to force this. I picked up on it, but I'm a stickler for those type of things. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people liked it. Everybody had their time. He spaced it out good, but it's like, oh, another one. But don't get me wrong, the movie's amazing. I give it a 9 out of 10. The only problem I have with this movie, and I'll get back into some of the actors that are in it, is the build-up. The build-up to the bomb, and when they're finally doing it at night, you're like, yes, because we waited like 2.5 hours for this. And then you see it, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And no shockwave, and then it hits you with the shockwave, and you're like, oh, there it is. But it was a lot of build up to it. The explosion kind of let me down a little bit, but I get it. It was more. It wasn't about just the bomb. It was about the people behind it. But it's the people behind the curtains. Understandable. So we had to see the other side of it. But the explosion wasn't enough. You could have hit more on that. You really could have. And I know Christopher Nolan's crazy, man. That dude really set off a bomb in the desert. Not an atomic bomb, but close enough where it could replicate being an atomic bomb. But yeah, it was just, I don't know. And you had Heisenberg was in there, played by the guy from what was it, Army of the Dead? The locksmith guy. He very short role, but obviously Oppenheimer admired that dude. He was super smart. And he was trying to create something too at the same time. Oppenheimer just got there first. But let's talk about Josh Hartnett. Let's talk about the performance of Josh Hartnett. Now, you know Josh Hartnett left Hollywood for a while. And in this movie, you will not see Josh Hartnett. It has his likeness, but put this guy back in more movies. I know he had a run-in with Hollywood and stuff, and just left the game for a little bit. But wow, this may be the best acting performance I've ever seen over Black Hawk Down. He totally, and he's in a large part of this movie, and he is a very, very important piece of this. But I don't know. I can't even spoil it because it's so much. But the funny thing is, when they were all sitting down, and guess who else is in it? A Skarsgård. A Skarsgård has to be in every movie. Let's just put it that way. Even if they're like an extra in the background, there has to be a Skarsgård in a movie. It's almost mandatory now. And it's the guy that plays Floki. Is he the middle one? I don't know. There's like 19 Skarsgård, so yeah. But I mean, you had people like Matthew Modine in it coming up, like. Matthew Modine, Kenneth Branagh is in it for probably like the equivalent of, I would say, maybe 2 minutes. But when he comes on the screen, he steals the show. It's Kenneth Branagh. There's so many people in this. And then they had Rami Malek in it, right? And I thought he was just some Like, oh, they using an A-lister just to be just this guy's assistant, but he has a great breakthrough and he's actually on Oppenheimer's side. And without him, I mean, they still took Oppenheimer's security clearance. He basically took him down and then repaid him back later. But the guy, he's not a good. He's a narcissist. He's really not. You feel for him certain times, but let me talk about Emily Blunt as his wife. Her performance is awesome, and she needs to be up for an award too. Because when she keeps telling him, "You need to stand up, you need to fight," because the guy is so much of a narcissist that he literally he just can't he's so consumed with himself he can't realize that people are going against him. And his wife Emily Blunt is telling him every single time, like, yo bro, yo, you got to stand up for yourself. And then when she has to do it during that meeting, it's insane. And it's so funny how America will when it comes to that type of thing, they wanted to see if it works, so they dropped it twice. And then Gary Oldman as Truman, very short scene, but he plays a great Truman. And what he says to Oppenheimer, basically he was saying, nobody cares that you made the bomb. They cared about the person who dropped it. And that was me. So it took all that power away from Oppenheimer right then, because they were never on your side. They were never your buddies. So while you were sitting there with delusion of grandeur, they were using you like they do everyone. It's for the sake of the country, for the stars and stripes. You're just a pawn, because they can always replace you. And like they kept saying that that one thing, they were like, wait, nobody, and it's funny they created, or it's not fun, but it's weird that they created something that could destroy so much with atomic energy, but they were terrified of using the hydrogen bomb. So that should tell you how powerful a hydrogen bomb is.
The hydrogen bomb.
Every time it was like taboo when they brought when somebody said, well, what about the hydrogen bomb? When they were like, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, we'll just stay with the atomic bomb. So that shows you how scared they were of that. But
not the hydrogen bomb.
There's so many people in this movie. And the black and white scenes, definitely, I thought it was going to probably throw the movie off, but it was the right balance of the black and white, because then oh man, I forgot how good movies look in grayscale black and white. I forgot how good they look. Casey Affleck was in this. I forgot about Casey Affleck. Oh, there's so many. But is it Casey Affleck? Yeah. But the black and white scenes, and then they mix it with the color, and then that whole in the trailers, you hear the feet pounding, whatever, that always builds up. And the cinematography is so crisp in this movie. So crisp. There's one problem I have, though. They built up the town like super fast in Los Alamos or whatever. And like if they were getting spied on and everything, somebody probably could have picked up on that. But I mean, back then he said it was in the middle of nowhere. So back then, yeah, probably nothing around it. Probably, I mean, we didn't have drones, but if you were to do that now, they would have caught you. But pretty good plan. Pretty good plan. And this guy's such a narcissist that when him and Emily Blunt go in there, which is his backbone, literally, she's like, there's no kitchen. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll fix that. I'm like, dude, did you not? You're so obsessed with yourself that you forgot. Like, but anyway, that's my it's my little kind of all over the world spoiler review. Definitely give it a 9 out of 10. Christopher Nolan, he knows how, and you know what the crazy thing was I bought tickets, right? I bought tickets early. I got them reserved. And I'm like, oh, nobody's showing up to this thing. When we got in there, it was packed. All ages, except for like toddlers and stuff. But I'm talking about you had teenagers, you had elderly, you had my era. I mean, it was packed. And you know what? The great thing about Christopher Nolan, he can keep the crowd silent and watching. Because there were times when there was a little funny joke that was in the movie because he had a little humor. There is some funny times that and everybody laughed and immediately stopped and kept watching. And there's this one part that really bugged me out in the movie when the one politician is talking about they made a list of places where to drop the bomb in Japan, both. And before I get to that, but when they take away Fat Man and Little Boy from Oppenheimer, they put in the crates. That is a very emotional moment because it's like his children are being taken away from him, which is kind of sadistic and sick. But yeah, but there's a part when this politician is talking about lists of places, and that Christopher Nolan is so good at like just striking a nerve in you. But he's talking about, oh yeah, this. Oh, we can't go there because we had our honeymoon there, or we don't want to drop it there. And I'm like, what? So they made a list, and then they were like, we're going to drop it here and there. But he didn't want to drop the bomb, any of the two bombs, near the place where he went on his honeymoon in Japan. Crazy. And there's a part when they talk about Hitler dying. He killed himself or whatever. And they're just like, okay, we're still going to drop this bomb. But anyway, that's my all over the place spoiler review. I mean, I can go over I can do like, if I can remember most of them because the movie's so long, I can do it. Well, that would probably be like 60 podcasts of each actor in the movie and what they did and a breakdown of their character, which would probably be virtually impossible. But anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. Please do. Just, it only takes 2 clicks. You click the like, you click the subscribe. And I'm going to keep giving you more content. And I want everyone to subscribe. And I do mean everyone.